As the heavy monsoon rains retreat, a soft, persistent drizzle descends upon the emerald canopy, turning the forest into a world of ghosts. High atop a moss-covered branch, a great hornbill shakes its massive wings, sending a cascade of silver droplets flying into the humid air.
The bird's golden casque glows even in the muted light, a beacon of color against the gray-white backdrop of the swirling mountain fog.
Below the canopy, a tiny crimson sunbird darts between dripping orchids, its red plumage appearing like a spark of fire in the damp gloom. The drizzle muffles sound, but the sunbird's sharp, rhythmic chirping cuts through the silence, echoing strangely against the wall of mist.
A white-throated kingfisher sits motionless on a low vine, its blue feathers darkened by the moisture, watching the rising puddles below. The mist thickens, obscuring the forest floor, where a silver pheasant treads carefully, its long white tail feathers trailing through the wet ferns.
Visibility drops to a few meters, forcing the forest's inhabitants to rely on sound rather than sight to find their kin.
A pair of hill mynas call out to each other from invisible perches, their black feathers shimmering with an iridescent sheen under the rain. The light rain creates a rhythmic percussion as it hits the broad, waxy leaves of the giant teak trees. A crested serpent eagle perches on a jagged stump, its sharp eyes scanning for movement through the hazy gray veil. The eagle's feathers are coated in a natural oil that allows the drizzle to bead and roll off, keeping its downy underlayer warm. In the shadows of a hollow tree, a family of spotted owlets huddles together, their feathers puffed up to trap heat. One owlet blinks, its large yellow eyes reflecting the silver light of the rainy afternoon as it watches the world go by.
A green broadbill blends perfectly with the foliage, its emerald body nearly invisible amongst the moss and wet leaves.
The bird lets out a soft whistle, a sound that seems to vibrate through the heavy, moisture-laden air of the valley. High above, a flock of swifts cuts through the mist, catching tiny insects that have been grounded by the dampness. The drizzle intensifies for a moment, creating a curtain of water that blurs the edges of the ancient mountains. A black and yellow broadbill works on its hanging nest, weaving wet fibers together with practiced precision. The nest sways in the cool breeze, a masterpiece of avian engineering designed to withstand the tropical elements. As the mist shifts, a red-headed trogon appears, its brilliant crimson chest a stark contrast to the white fog. It sits perfectly still, waiting for a beetle to emerge from its hiding place in the bark of a fallen log. Nearby, a spider's web is transformed into a necklace of diamonds as it captures the fine mist. A fairy bluebird lands briefly to drink from a leaf, its feathers a deep electric blue that defies the gloom. The bird's presence is fleeting, disappearing back into the white haze as quickly as it arrived.
The sound of falling water from a nearby cliff becomes a constant drone, blending with the whisper of the rain.
A pair of woodpeckers drum on a dead tree, the sound muffled and low in the saturated air. They seek larvae hidden deep within the wood, their long tongues reaching into the crevices of the damp bark. As evening approaches, the mist turns a deep violet, and the first nocturnal hunters begin to stir.
A frogmouth sits camouflaged against a branch, looking exactly like a piece of broken wood in the rain.
Its wide mouth stays shut, waiting for a moth to flutter by in the dim, misty light. The drizzle begins to taper off,
leaving the forest dripping and heavy with the scent of damp earth and blooming jasmine.
A blue pitta hops across the mossy ground, searching for earthworms flushed out by the moisture.
The bird's movements are jerky and alert, ever mindful of predators lurking in the fading mist.
In the distance, the call of a gibbon echoes through the valley, a haunting melody that signals the end of the day.
The mist begins to lift from the river, revealing the glass-like surface of the water, reflecting the silver sky.
A little heron stands at the water's edge, a silhouette of patience against the gray reflection. The echoes in the mist slowly fade as the birds find their roosts for the night, safe within the damp embrace of the trees.
Life in the drizzle is a delicate dance of survival, where every drop of water holds a story of resilience. As the last light of day vanishes, the forest waits for the dawn, when the mist will rise once more.